Hello, I'm Fara Sax. Welcome to Gloria's Gab Live. Yep, Gloria's Gab Live. I'm just keeping the seat warm for her. She's healing, and we're wishing her a very speedy recovery and welcoming her back whenever she's ready. I'd like to thank today's sponsor, which is South Florida PBS Programming, for all the wonderful programming, local and informative, and just really filling our heads with great information and entertainment. I'd also like to thank Julian Chang with his second location in Pinecrest Boutique, and it's a great way to get your clothing and your accessories, and I'm wearing him today, and it's really exciting. We welcome Julian to the community. And today, as I fill in, as I'm preparing for this interview, it's Bleeding Blue. And they are my guests today. Danny Morales, who is the president and founder, and Melanie Ginoris, who is its treasurer. And they're going to talk all about Bleeding Blue, and it's all about law enforcement and supporting families, officers in our community. So thank you both for joining me today, and welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having us, and it's a pleasure to be here.
And what do you do at Bleeding Blue?
So we are a nonprofit 501c3. We started about 18 months ago, November of 2022, and our mission is to raise awareness and funds for South Florida law enforcement families that are either injured or fallen in the line of duty. And then we dabble a little bit in the mental health field for law enforcement and first responders.
Melanie, how long have you been? You're in the homicide unit.
Yes, and I've been on with Miami-Dade for 7 years.
And Danny?
I'm with Miami-Dade as well in the homicide unit, and I'm coming on my 7th year now.
So off camera we spoke that it's in your DNA. Your family are all involved in law enforcement?
Yeah, it's my stepfather is a retired law enforcement officer for the city of Hialeah, and my brother is also a police officer for Miami-Dade. My poor mother has dealt with all of us being cops for a long time, but we love it. It's awesome.
But the work that you do is amazing, and it's so important. And you've been with them a long time too.
Yes, I have.
But you're like 15 years old.
I wish I was still 15 years old. That would be great. But I also come from a law enforcement family. My uncle has done over 40 years in the law enforcement career. I have another uncle, cousins. My stepmother she's now retired. So it definitely is in our DNA. It's definitely something that we were born into, and we love doing it.
Did you grow up saying, I want to be in law enforcement? I want to be in homicide? I mean, that's a lot.
I did. I can say that I did. That's something that I've always wanted to do. And I pursued it as soon as I could.
Wonderful. And you, Danny?
As a child, yes, I was always running around in like these little SWAT outfits and stuff like that, but never homicide until I actually became a cop, and then saw what they did, and I was in investigations, and that was my end goal, and thankfully was able to hit that dream really quick. So,
and 18 months ago, Bleeding Blue began. What was the event, the incident that turned you around and started this wonderful foundation for families?
So we had a officer that was killed in the line of duty. His name is Cesar Echeverry.
I think we have a picture of him, Rachel, please.
Yes, and that he was in the robbery and intervention unit, and he was chasing a subject when that subject produced a firearm. Cesar was able to discharge his firearm as well. Unfortunately, Cesar was shot and killed that night. I didn't know him personally. Actually, Mel used to be his partner, and they used to ride on the road together, and that kind of inspired us to help the family. But we were also working in the homicide aspect too. There was a homicide investigation that we had to partake in, and then just realizing that this family is left without their loved one now. He was engaged. His mother, his father, his sister, they are amazing people, and we try to support them as best as possible. We actually host an event for them every year to generate funds for the family, and that was the start point of Bleeding Blue, and a couple other incidents that we realized we caught ourselves in generating money and trying to raise money for the family. So my brother and I decided to come together and launch this officially, make the 501c3, struggled through all those processes because there's no checklist for these things. And that's how Bleeding Blue started.
Melanie, what's that like for you? You had a partner, and how do you move past that or move through the grief?
It was definitely tough. Once you go out to the road, you're in something that we call the field training phase. So I was in the field training phase. The first squad that I went to after my field training phase, Etchi was on the squad. He was very welcoming. We also were in the academy together for a long period of time. But he was very welcoming. Once you get off of the FTO phases and you go into a regular squad, you kind of like become your own cop. And he definitely, the times that we would ride 2 men together, always very helpful, always wanting to teach me everything that he had learned, very humble.
How many years was he on the squad?
At that time, he had been on, it would have been approximately almost 1.5 years, 2 years that he would have been a road officer already. This was in 2019. So very humble, amazing cop. He truly loved the job, and he did it very well.
So this was an impetus to begin Bleeding Blue, and talk about what you bring to the table, why it's important, and how you choose the families that you are servicing through these donations that you are raising. I mean, you've in 18 months you've done incredible work. So how do you choose those families in assisting?
So a big part of it is that people have reached out to us, and if we do see any officer, fallen officer, injured officer, whether it's in the line of duty or off duty, we have the capabilities of helping immediately. So some other organizations, there's some hoops that you have to jump through. So our whole reasoning when we started is we wanted to kind of limit those hoops and be able to, hey, this is a fallen officer, their family needs assistance. We do fundraisers is basically what we do, so we can do like memorial stuff for them. So T-shirts, coins.
Like we see, perhaps we should just look at some of the coins and some of the swag that you've done. And this is all for that has been provided and for purchase. So you raise money to assist these families that go directly to them to assist them.
Correct. So essentially for instance, the challenge coin here was for Trooper Fink. He was from Port St. Lucie area. This challenge coin, we got with FHP. We got approval by FHP, and we always make sure to do that so that way it's not interfering with any other campaigns or fundraisers that they're doing. This challenge coin actually we were able to donate $18,000 to the family.
Wow.
Off of a coin. So it's pretty impressive. It's memorabilia, but to the family this means more than just a coin, right? It's a picture of his face. It's something that they can keep forever. The money's not going to bring them back. The money is just going to give them that sense of peace to maybe pay off a couple bills here and there. But, something that they can hold on to and then remember their loved one. And then it goes into the fact that there's officers that worked with him too, that may have been excited to see him the following morning or go grab coffee with him in that morning. And now they have something to remember him by. Maybe they'll keep it in their car, and that'll give them that shine of light that they need every morning. And
it's also for the families, anybody that he's connected with, it's keeping him alive. Someone cared enough, and in a constant way. And the money is an amazing bonus, but someone cared enough about his life to take value and take stock and take pause to commemorate.
It was pretty impressive. There was over 750 sales from all over the United States. You had people, I shipped coins to Hawaii and Arkansas and all types of places for his fundraiser. So it was actually very impressive. I attended his funeral in Port St. Lucie, and the amount of support that from all over, FHP officers from all over, or I would say highway patrol officers from all over the U.S. were there.
Amazing. And then there's events now, and I'd like to show that slide of events that you're going to be doing. We can start with the beer, or we can start here. Let's start with the coins. What you're doing, the events that are happening.
So we have on the top left is a 5K that we do. We do an annual 5K. So we've done 2 of them And this year we dedicated it to Brandy. She was a dispatcher for the city of Hialeah. The coin right underneath is a actual fundraiser that we have ongoing right now. It's for the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, and Deputy Julian Garcia was struck by a DUI, and he's actually they had to amputate his leg, and that is a fundraiser that we have ongoing right now. We're actually going to be meeting him at the end of the month at an event down in the Keys, and then right below that is the brochure that we had, or the flyer that we had for the Trooper Fink coin, sorry, and that was pretty much what we posted everywhere. And then just to touch base on some of them, the Angel at shortstop, that's going to be Etchy's event that we do with the family every year. So 20, 30 softball teams come together for one reason, is just hanging out, being there with the family, unity basically, and then the funds will be donated to the family, which they're using for a personal cause of theirs, which is also very impactful.
And our audience can get involved and donate. It's bleedingblue.info to get involved and to donate, to support, to participate. And I think community awareness is so important. I know Gloria was talking to me yesterday that Gringo Bingo, which is up and coming on the 25th, a portion of that will be donated to you all to help. And then there's the Beer Fest. Let's talk about that up and coming. That's crafted beer, amazing stuff, food trucks, community involvement, food, games, family participation. So tell me what's going on in Hialeah.
Yeah, so I'm very excited about this event. We try to do events that we know it's going to not only bring in the law enforcement community, but also bring in the general public, right? Because, I mean, who's not going to want to go to a beer fest? And like that, you can meet like officers and you come more how we're human, right? The same way everybody else is human. So I think that this event is great because not only is it going to bring all these people for a good cause to raise money for our nonprofit, and thankfully with the help of our friends over at Exit One Tap Room, we were able to put this together. We have over 30 breweries that will be in attendance. We have food trucks. We have a live DJ that will be there as well.
Wow.
Different fun beer games that we'll be having too, and a bunch of pop-up tents of local businesses so people can also help the local small businesses.
This is amazing. And how many families have you touched in the 18 months? And how much money have you raised? This is amazing. I mean, not only are you doing this, you're keeping us safe in the community.
That's our 9 to 5.
Is that part of your passion? I mean, which is the passion,
It's both. I mean, essentially, one doesn't come without the other. If we're not law enforcement officers, we wouldn't have ever seen this side of things, right? So I think that, being doing the job, understanding the job, seeing the sacrifices that we make, our families make, our loved ones make, gives us an understanding to know why we need to help these families out when they either lose somebody or even if someone is just injured, right? Let's say they get injured on the job or off the job. Police officers make decent money, but they make a lot of their money off of overtime and off-duty assignments and extra assignments and stuff like that. So now you're injured because you were chasing somebody and you broke your leg. Now your family may be going without, your kids may not be getting Christmas gifts that month or that year because you weren't making that little bit extra that you're used to, so that's where we kind of tap in and help out. So thankfully we've been able to help 32 families and donate over $172,000.
And what is some of the feedback that you've gotten from the families? What do they say to you, Melanie?
They're grateful. They're very grateful. And
we have a slide here on some of the recipients.
Yeah, so we do try as much as we can. If we're able to, we do go and deliver the checks personally to the family because we do want to keep that personal relationship with these families, because just because the fundraisers are over doesn't mean that, hey, here's your check and we're done. We're here for them for the long run whenever they need us. It's not a one-time deal. So we do like to make it personable and keep it that way, and we do go out, deliver the checks to them. They're always extremely grateful, at a loss for words. We are always at a loss for words because of the community that we are in and the amount of support that we get. We are able to do this. It's not just us. It's not just us too. It's not just our board members. It's everybody.
How many are you on your board?
So there's
small but mighty.
Yeah. I want to say there's a total of like 12 of us that are on the board of directors, right? but there's an outrageous number of supporters and volunteers, that our coworkers that are constantly coming forward. Our coworkers' kids that are just there for volunteer hours for for school, trying to get into college and stuff like that. So it's actually very impressive, the amount of people that come forward and want to volunteer.
And you've raised almost $180,000.
We've donated over 180,000. So raised is obviously there's expenses to operating a business, right? So this is essentially what it is. Everybody here is 100% volunteer. We don't make a dollar off of this, but there is operating expenses. So we've generated over $250,000. But can proudly say we've donated $180,000 worth.
Amazing. How has your life changed since Bleeding Blue?
It's fulfilling. It's definitely fulfilling. And I think that it doesn't feel like a job, right? We're both very passionate about our career, and in turn, we're passionate about Bleeding Blue. And it doesn't feel like a job because at the end of the day, if something were to happen to me or to Danny or any of our family in law enforcement, knowing that there's organizations out there like ours to support, that's why we're a part of it, right? Because we want to make sure,
Absolutely,
we want to make sure that they are taken care of. So we know that in the long run, that's what we're here for.
Yep.
Absolutely, absolutely. And let's talk a little bit about what you want, the next steps of the next. In July is going to be a huge mental health symposium conference. Let's touch upon that. I think we have a slide about that as well, up and coming. And tell me why mental health is so important.
So we're in Miami-Dade County, right? One of our top dogs, director of the police department, we have recently had an incident where he attempted suicide, and thankfully, with the grace of God, he's still alive and with us today. And that kind of spiraled us to see that there was a need for, it was one of our leaders, someone that we respected. He wasn't a leader that you would just see in the hallway and just walk away from. No, he would come up to you and make sure that you were good. But in turn, he wasn't good. And being in the homicide unit and just being a police officer in general, the stuff that we see is not normal. The amount of incidents that we respond to, a normal civilian would not see that in a lifetime, maybe once. But there's stuff that needs to be done. There's a change that needs to be completed, right? There's things that need to be done. So we
and addressed.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we needed to figure that out, and we decided to do a conference where we're going to bring in 3 speakers. Travis Howes being the keynote speaker, and he's an inspirational person just in our field, right? He's a law enforcement officer, retired law enforcement officer. He was a firefighter, ex-military. Comedian, so he makes the topic easy to understand and easy to relate with. And then we got Megan McCarthy and John Mattingly that are both amazing law enforcement officers who went through devastating incidents, suffered from post-traumatic stress, and they'll speak upon the process that they went through to overcome what they were going through, and their families, of course.
And how many people are you expecting at this conference?
We're hoping for 500.
So we have over 350 signed up.
Wow. bleedingblue.info.
Yep.
And to get information and for donations. Any other thing that you want to share in the time that we have left that might not have covered, or you want your audience to know about what it's like to be a Miami-Dade officer?
Hectic.
Hectic.
Yeah, Miami-Dade is Miami's awesome, right? We have it's a tourism city.
Did you grow up here?
Yes.
Did you grow up here?
Born and raised.
Hialeah.
Hialeah.
Not Hialeah. Yes.
Just say Hialeah for the record. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in the West Kendall Hammocks area.
And what is it that we don't know? What is it that we don't know as lay people that you do for us on a daily basis? Mundane or like, NCSY kind of thing? What is it that you want us to know?
I think that there's a misconception in the community about law enforcement, right? The same way in every career field, you always have a bad apple. We're all human still. In law enforcement, it's a career. There are bad apples, but it does not mean that they're all bad apples just because you have one. So I think that the community kind of associates us all as one body. So if one of us does something then the rest of us are bad.
It's like going to a bad doctor and all doctors are horrific or attorneys or whatever you want to say. So it's every sect has a bad apple.
Right. And in our case, it's not like that because speaking for myself, I truly love the job. I love serving the community. It's a passion that I have. I don't think that I'll ever get tired of it, you know? So I think just the community knowing that there are some of us out here that are here on their side. And we are here to help you. I mean, we go into shootings, run into shootings, shots still being fired on scenes, and we're still there to help whoever's shot, right? Because those shots that are still being fired aren't going to stop us. We run into burning buildings sometimes because fire rescue takes a little bit longer than we do to respond. We'll still go in there, even though we're not equipped to do it. We go in, get people out if we have to do it, if we're capable of doing it. So I do think that that's a big thing that the community should know, that some of us are here for them.
And how many officers are there in Miami-Dade County alone?
Say the Miami-Dade Police Department is probably over 4,000 right now, and then you have 35 municipalities within Miami-Dade County. So we're strong.
You are.
Yeah.
If I was in a burning building, I'd want you to come save me. Rescue me on any day of the week. Just your passion and your commitment to the community is just insurmountable, and what the work that you do from your 9 to 5 and then your passion afterwards. So, Danny, what would you like our audience to know about you or the work that you do that they might not know unless they were taking a ride along with you?
They're more than welcome to. But I mean, at the end of the day, we do this because we love to help people. Right? We don't sign up because it's good pay. You're not making over, crazy numbers. There's better careers out there with better hours, but we truly do it because we care about the community. We care about what we do. We love what we do. And then Bleeding Blue wise, it's goes hand in hand, right? We're doing this for the love of a family, to remember somebody, to help another officer. The thin blue line is very important, right? And that's kind of what you see on our logo. It's a sign of unity. It's a sign of law enforcement. It's a sign of coming together. And no matter who this person is right next to me on a scene, no matter, gender, race, sexuality, whatever it is, that person is that's a police officer, and we're going into that situation together. And no matter what happens with that person, that's my brother or my sister, and we're gonna
I just feel like we just had a moment together.
And that's the important part about this job. It's crazy that you may have an issue with somebody personally, and when you get to a scene, that all goes to on the back burners, and then you're going to focus on what the job is at hand. So it's impressive.
And I appreciate you making lemonade out of the lemons for the poor families that have undergone, and what you've been touched as well. And 3 major wonderful events happening. The Gringo Bingo happening on the 25th. And the 29th, we're going to all sing Kumbaya and drink a lot of beer and celebrate with families. And then in July, we have mental health conference with the foremost experience people in the world coming to speak and to help families, and raising awareness is what you do, and changing lives and changing yourselves along the way. So thank you for this post-traumatic growth together and bringing it to our community, and for the shared time that we've had today, and only 18 months young, but helping so many. Small but mighty you are. So thank you so much for being my guest today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
And I want to thank you for joining us. And again, remember, you can donate, participate, get involved, and donate again for a worthy cause, for worthy families at Bleeding Blue. I believe on there it says bleedingblue.com, but it's bleedingblue.info. Again, I'm Fara Sax. Take care of yourselves and each other. And thank you so much for watching today on Gloria's Gab Live. Have a great day.